Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Monday, December 9th. Now, before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It really helps the channel out a lot. Now, today we will be talking about a proposed VAT increase causing economic concerns in Thailand. Later, naked and reckless tourist behavior in Phuket, tisk tisk. And then finally, we'll be giving you updates about the latest on the toppling of Assad's regime in Syria. But our first story, back in Thailand, a fatal massage incident in Thailand has sparked safety concerns. A Singaporean tourist, Lee Mun Tuk, and Thai singer Chanida Praohom tragically died after separate massage experiences in Thailand. Lee collapsed after a massage in Phuket and later died at a Patong hospital, with an autopsy underway. Chanida, known as Ping Chanida, suffered worsening symptoms, including immobility after repeated neck manipulations during massages in Udon Thani. These incidents have raised concerns about massage safety in Thailand, a cultural staple celebrated for its therapeutic benefits. Authorities are investigating, and the tragedies may prompt stricter regulations to ensure patron safety while preserving the essence of Thai massage. Yikes. I mean, who hasn't been, I've been into plenty of Thai massages. I've gotten the whole, treatment, where they bend you and twist you in all sorts of different ways. But usually you're expecting them to be professional enough to understand that they are not going to kill you. So unclear, especially with the singer who went through escalating incidents, right? This happened after 3 massages. So apparently, that's not the lucky number in this case. Be careful, and if you are feeling pain or think you are going to be hurt as a result of these manipulations, make them stop. Speak up. And in the meantime, hopefully Thailand can place some regulations so that tourists are safe while undergoing, the very famous and very lovely culture of Thai massages. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Will this deter you in the future? Will you be more careful? What's your take? All right, now I have some story that's a story that's going to affect all of us here in Thailand, particularly if you like traveling here. Taxes. Death and taxes, the only certainties, right? Thailand's VAT proposal has stirred economic concerns. Now, a proposed VAT hike from 7% to 15%, almost doubling, more than, in Thailand has alarmed the restaurant and hotel sectors, though it has reportedly been shelved for now. Thai Restaurant Business Association leader Sodatep warned the tax would force closures or raise food prices by 20 to 25%. He proposed raising the VAT registration threshold and allowing tax deductions for raw materials to help small to medium enterprises. Comparisons to Europe's higher VAT rates were criticized due to Thailand's lower incomes. Thai Hotel Association President Tin Prasit also flagged the hike's impact on fragile recovery and spending, suggesting a gradual increase to 10%. Clear communication and policies to boost spending are urgently needed. I was at 7%, jumping up to 15% is an insane hike, especially when, a lot of that VAT, if you're a tourist, right, you get that refunded on your way out. So most of the people who are footing the bill would be Thai people here, engaging in those services. So fortunately, the government was listening to the advice of the people and the outrage. Of course, nobody likes taxes, but it's an inevitability. Excuse me. I think that was a pretty dramatic hike. Going from 7 to 10 seems like a reasonable compromise. But your thoughts? Are prices, too high in Thailand? That's not typically the complaint that people have. And I think as long as the money is going to good use and not really just lining pockets, then there would be justification. So if you are going to increase taxes, we need a plan. Let me know your thoughts, guys. All right, anyways, moving on. Our next story. Okay, so I'm a little late to this one, but I wanted to bring it up because it sparks a lot of safety concerns here in Thailand. Now, over the weekend, a New Yorker was electrocuted by a faulty streetlight in Thailand. Now, Thura Kiao, a 33-year-old New Yorker visiting his long-distance girlfriend in Thailand, tragically died after being electrocuted by a faulty streetlight in the Thalong district. While walking to a seafood restaurant, Kiao slipped on a wet sidewalk and grabbed a streetlight for support, which delivered a fatal shock due to a suspected live wire. A bystander was also briefly shocked while trying to help, but managed to pull Kiao away. Despite being rushed to Talang Hospital, Kiao was pronounced dead. The tragedy highlights infrastructure safety concerns in the area and around Thailand. So, yeah, terrifying stuff. It can happen in an instant. And this is one of the reasons why, all right, there's so much push to take those wires, which obviously it's iconic. It's part of the charm of the city. It's also very dangerous and can lead to tragedy like it did in this situation. Big push to move these wires underground so that this cannot happen. If you slip, you grab onto the nearest thing as reflex would dictate, and all of a sudden your visit to your girlfriend is cut short by, poor infrastructure. So this is big news in America and around the world. Everybody comes to travel to Thailand. Everybody knows. They see these wires. Even when you're on the bikes, you're like ducking them and stuff like that. So it's a big problem, and hopefully it can lead to solutions. But yeah, let me know your take, guys, in the comments on this particular story. All right, moving on to our next story. We have a case of drunken police. All right, a drunk police officer has caused chaos in Pattaya. That's right, a drunk police officer, Sergeant Sunton Hampan, caused chaos in Pattaya by firing gunshots into the air. This is Yosemite Sam, leading to a standoff with over 50 officers. The incident occurred on Soi Khao Noi, where the intoxicated officer barricaded himself in his home after discharging his weapon. Nearby residents were evacuated as police subdued and disarmed him after a 30-minute standoff. Known for erratic behavior fueled by alcohol and cannabis, the officer had a history of firing his weapon and causing disturbances. Sunton remains in custody as authorities consider disciplinary and legal actions. Woo! Talk about sucking up police resources. My God, that's a lot of cops to respond to. Well, it's one of those things where he's one of them, right? He is a police officer, so there is particular care for this situation. He's barricaded himself. He has weapons. He might harm himself. So good on the Thai police for being able to de-escalate this situation, get him into custody without anybody really getting hurt. But also, shame on the officer himself for going on drunken, endangering tirades around the city of Pattaya, which has done a lot to try and clean up its reputation lately. It's not good when the police themselves are acting a fool, as we've seen so many tourists do in the past. Anyways, yeah, let me know your thoughts. What should be the punishment for this guy endangering the public? Certainly, I don't know. In America, it's one of those things. You might just get a suspension, a paid leave or something like that. I think it might be a little different here in Thailand, so we'll see. Moving on. Now we talked about reckless police. Time for reckless tourists, and I got two of them for you today. One tourist has been accused of reckless behavior in Phuket and has drawn significant criticism. So a video of a tourist in Phuket standing beside a moving car while drinking beer and smoking a cigarette, trying to be cool, near Patong Beach has sparked criticism online. The clip shows the tourist passing the beer inside the car and re-entering after finishing his cigarette. Social media users question the driver's awareness and responsibility, with many calling for penalties for both the driver and the tourist. Locals expressed concerns about the road safety and the negative impact on public order, urging tourists to act responsibly. Come on, people. The incident has reignited discussions about stricter accountability for reckless behavior in Thailand's popular tourist areas. Yeah. I mean, you see it all the time. Drunk people, tourists, farangs. All right, sometimes they get scooters and they drive recklessly. Sometimes they're in the back of tuk-tuks getting smashed and leaning out and trying to high-five people on the side of the streets. Look, just because you're here in Thailand to have a good time doesn't mean safety goes out the window, okay? For every story like this where everyone's okay or fine in the end, there's another one where somebody, falls off the car, cracks their head open on the street, and ends up, not making it. So, yeah, I think this goes without saying. You wouldn't do this at home. Why would you do this here in Thailand? And yeah, I think this is why people are calling for better enforcement against these tourists, so that there's more examples being made in order to curb this behavior in the future. I can understand why people are saying that. But what are your thoughts? What should the accountability be for somebody engaged in this kind of behavior? Let me know in the comments. Moving on, that's not the only badly behaving tourist that we have in Phuket. An intoxicated tourist has walked through a Phuket hotel completely naked. A visibly intoxicated foreign tourist was photographed walking naked through a hotel on Tawiwong Road in Patong, Phuket. I was just there. I swear it wasn't me. Hotel security intervened, escorting the individual out and instructing them to dress. The incident, shared on the Facebook page Hodjang Phuket province, sparked online discussions criticizing the behavior of some tourists under Thailand's relaxed visa policies. The event raises concerns about tourist conduct and its impact on local communities, particularly if there are little kids around. Jesus Christ. Can't be going around exposing yourself like that. Anyways, obviously, if you do this, everyone has a smartphone. Everyone's going to be posting videos of you acting a fool online. Unclear whether or not he's been, reprimanded for this behavior. Other than like, hey, come on, dude, just put this is not cool. Not in your nudist colony. But in any case, I swear I didn't know anybody involved in this. And again, control yourselves, people. If you can't handle your booze, then maybe stick to something else. You can enjoy Thailand without making yourself a problem for everybody else around you, is what I'm saying. Next story, we are heading into our ASEAN section. It's not really our ASEAN section. We're heading to the Middle East, guys. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's happening in Syria, because there are some new updates about this, and it's been a crazy weekend for this story. Now, Syria's Assad has fled to Moscow amid political transition. Syria's Bashar al-Assad and his family are in Moscow after Russia granted them asylum on humanitarian grounds. This follows Assad's resignation and orders for a peaceful transfer of power as rebel forces took Damascus unopposed, ending decades of his family's rule. Russia, a key ally of Assad, is working to safeguard its military bases in Syria, including Hmeim Air Base and Tartus Naval Facility. While Syrian opposition has guaranteed their safety, tensions remain high, with concerns about Moscow's regional influence and military presence. Russia is calling for UN-led negotiations to resolve Syria's crisis politically. All right, so there was a lot of controversy this weekend. Assad's flight, a plane had left carrying Assad. It disappeared on radar, so many people speculated that it had been shot down. That is not the case. He is now in Moscow receiving asylum. This is the culmination of a 13-year civil war where Russia was using many military forces to prop up the Assad regime in order to maintain its naval base there. But with Russia's fight in Ukraine, so many of the resources that were dedicated to Syria have been diverted to the Ukraine war effort, leaving Assad without a leg to stand on, and the rebels basically able to take Damascus unopposed. So, it seems that Russia, after spending all of that time and money and effort to hold on to their military bases, are now losing it. Very interesting to hear them asking for diplomatic solutions led by the United Nations when they have very strongly ignored most of those recommendations in the past. So we'll see how this unfolds. Yes, it's just kind of good news to see that this might be wrapping up after so long. All right, we have weird stories of extradition that have been happening all over the ASEAN region. And, here's one more. Indonesia is set to repatriate a Filipino who has been on death row. So, Indonesia has agreed to repatriate Filipino Mary Jane Veloso, a death row convict nearly executed in 2015 for drug trafficking, to the Philippines by the end of the month. Veloso, arrested in 2010 for smuggling heroin, was spared execution as her case was further investigated. The agreement, part of a decade-long negotiation and President Prabowo Subianto's good neighbor policy, allows the Philippines to decide on clemency or pardon, respecting their abolition of the death penalty. This move strengthens Indonesia-Philippines ties and aligns with ASEAN's Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. Indonesia may also repatriate 5 Australians and a French national convicted of drug offenses. This is very interesting. Obviously, many countries in Southeast Asia still use and enforce the death penalty, particularly for drug crimes. Indonesia, Singapore being foremost amongst those two. They have been in a lot of hot water with their partners in the ASEAN region, Australia, Philippines, when it comes to the enforcement of these executions, because death penalty has been abolished in many of these places where they are citizens from. So, ever the controversy, death penalty always controversial, particularly in cases like this where it's drug smuggling and not actual murder, right? Like typically we see death penalty as more of an eye for an eye thing, but in many Asian countries, they see the peddling of drugs as murder or equivalent, like the lives that it ruins. So, yeah, interesting to see. This is obviously a diplomatic move aimed to improve relations. I'm curious your thoughts. What do you think about the enforcement of the death penalty for drug-related offenses? Yeah, tell me in the comments, please. Moving on. I don't know if you guys are shopping online a lot lately, but Temu is making waves all around the world. But is it good? Vietnam has suspended the Chinese retailer Temu over registration issues. So, Vietnam has suspended the operations of Chinese online retailer Temu, a subsidiary of Pinduoduo, after it missed a November registration deadline with the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Authorities had expressed concerns about Temu's ultra-cheap products and their impact on local manufacturers. Temu, which launched in Vietnam in October with aggressive discounts and free shipping, stated it is working to complete the registration process. The suspension follows government warnings that its app and website would be blocked if it failed to comply. Temu is also under investigation in Europe for allegedly failing to prevent the sale of illegal products. I don't know. I'm like, dude, this is one of the weird things where shopping online is becoming more convenient, easier all of the time. Why and how? Like, what corners are being cut in terms of labor practices, in terms of tax evasion, in terms of just the hell that our logistics infrastructure has to go through. Like, I what's the old joke? It's like, I ordered a T-shirt. It's 90% cotton, 10% slavery. I mean, what the hell's going on? So I think it's interesting to see that countries are trying to take a stand against these very cheap online retailers and make sure that they're playing by the rules under threat of shutting them down, right? I think in a lot of other places, the money would talk, it would change hands, and they'd be allowed to operate. Vietnam is not allowing that. So we'll see if Temu is able to get through this process and participate in a legal way over there. Time will tell. All right, our last story, a softball, okay? Nothing too big. I wanted to end with something a little nicer. For any of you expecting to travel to Malaysia, Malaysia has introduced a digital arrival card for travelers. Now, starting at the beginning of this month, December, international travelers to Malaysia must complete the Malaysia Digital Arrival Card within 3 days before arrival. This new requirement aims to streamline immigration and enhance security. Travelers must provide travel and health information, print the completed form, and present it at immigration alongside a passport valid for at least 6 months. Exemptions include permanent residents, max pass holders, and those transiting Singapore without immigration clearance. The MDAC is part of Malaysia's efforts to improve border efficiency and safeguard public health. Travelers should monitor on updates to ensure smooth entry. Anyways, I just went to Malaysia. It was that was one of the more painful immigration experiences, I'll say. So I think this is good news. Look, you're seeing this trend happen all over Southeast Asia. Everybody's shifting to online, not e-visas. What do they call them? Exemptions, visa exemptions, just through online portals and things like that. Hopefully this expedites things. But yeah, it is big news all over Asia. And just remember, if you are heading to Malaysia, you need to do this. Otherwise, you'll be facing some issues at the border. All right, that's my softball. Now, guys, let me wrap up the show, and then I'll get into the comments and give you a couple little more updates. That'll do it, everybody. That's it for the Thaiger news today on Monday. We'll be back with you again on Wednesday because tomorrow, Tuesday, will be Constitution Day, a holiday for all of us. You can always go to thetiger.com for more updates throughout the day, including those holidays. And head over to ASEANnow.com, which is Thailand's largest expat forum and rapidly growing around the region. That's it for me, Alex.